So, we're live. One thing I will say is I hate the app to the recording studio thing. Like, it'll work perfectly fine, then all of a sudden it'll poof, act up. It's kind of an annoying thing. So anyway, let's see, let's play the intro, if the thing loads up. Alright, it's loaded. So, let's play the intro, shall we? So, as you can tell by the title, what it is, Game of Thrones, story of the royal family. I know this is going to probably upset a few people in jolly old England, and I know it will. But the thing about it is, I look at this royal family, and I honestly don't get it. I don't get the whole thing, the whole obsession, the whole fascination. It even carries over here in the US. I mean, I know now, like, on the news, it's Trump 24/7, which is annoying. 24/7 news, cable news, all about the impeachment, which there is no evidence. It's like the Cosby trial. It's just hearsay. I mean, I know a lot of people believe. I know today's climate, it's trial by Twitter or trial by news channel instead of actual evidence. I mean, it's insane. I mean, would you imagine if Twitter was around, say, the Bush and Gore, election, or if Twitter was around when the Clinton scandal? I mean, it would have been crazy shit. I mean, I can't wait to see the FX show that they're doing about the Clinton Lewinsky scandal. I mean, it's gonna be fucking crazy. Bill Clinton had some chick suck his dick in the Oval Office, and all there was a stained dress as evidence, and he lied about it. I remember seeing the video. You can watch the video on YouTube. He looked so calm and chill, like some chick just blew him before he gave his, listen, I want to tell you people, I did not have sexual relations with Miss Lewinsky. Like, it was just the craziest fucking thing you would ever see. I mean, it's more insane about George Bush. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. He's holding up the right hand for the left hand comment, and the right hand, he's holding up the left hand comment. It's like, it's insane. Like, I mean, am I the biggest Donald Trump fan? Not really, to be quite honest. Like, I mean, if we had Hillary Clinton as president, we would all be fucked. We would all be doomed, in my opinion. And today, you really, like, Joe Biden. I think I made the joke before about him. He'd be saying he's in one, it's good to be here in, South Carolina, but he's in North Carolina. But he absolutely said on TV, he said, it's good to be here in Ohio, but he's in Iowa. How so? Well, with Clinton, she would want to go to war with everybody. Like, she'd be picking a fight with everybody. Trump is the same thing. I said it once about the 2016 election. No one wins. No one wins in this outcome. We are all screwed. Both ways. I mean, the greatest president we ever had, well, we had a lot of great presidents, like FDR, Theodore Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy. Great men. I mean, I wish we had a very ambitious president like we had with JFK. I mean, was JFK perfect? No, he wasn't really perfect. He had a lot of problems. I mean, he had drug problems. He was being shot up with heroin. I don't know if it's true, but he had back problems. He had a depression. He had a lot of problems. He wasn't a perfect man. But damn, he was very ambitious. We went to the moon. Roosevelt defeated the Nazis. World War II, now they're trying to erase that in history. In teaching history. They want to get rid of World War II like it never happened. It's insane. This world is fucking insane. I mean, for God's sakes, like, I was doing research about the royal family. And I think it was Kate Middleton. It's a chick who's married to the bald prince. The guy who's bald, the prince. Willie, I think is his name. She was carrying her third kid, and she's wearing a red and white dress. And I remember seeing the photo of it. I'm thinking, like, oh shit, that looks familiar. And next thing you know, I was like, I recognize that. And it was in Rosemary's Baby. Mia Farrow was wearing that red dress when she had the baby that, was a satanic sacrifice thing. And I remember seeing that going like, what the fuck? Are we all... Is everybody not seeing this? Like, I always believed in conspiracy theories. Even though a lot of people say it's kind of stupid to believe in it, but when you look at the big picture, you will be kind of shocked about it. I do believe in conspiracy theories. I mean, a lot of people kind of snicker about the idea of believing in something that's disturbing. I mean, look at the royal family. I mean, it's crazy to believe this, but the Queen of England gets paid money to do nothing. To do nothing. I mean, I have to ask this question. I know we got some listeners in the UK. My uncle lived in the UK, for those who don't know. He served in the Air Force. He was stationed over in the UK. And he really didn't care for it. I asked him once. He visited the Show Me State. He lives in California. And I was like, tell me, like, what's the UK like? He goes, oh, it's boring. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, it is just... He goes, there's a lot of pubs, which I don't mind, but he goes, it's kind of boring. And it's... My cousins are in the UK. Oh. And I asked him about the Buckingham Palace. The entire royal family thing, and he said like it's something he does not understand, which I'm like, you're like the rest of us. It was funny though, he said like it is the most insane looking thing. He says it's just a building. He said it's just a building that is inhabited by old people. So I did research about the royal family. And it's kind of funny though. Like some of the theories. This one is very fascinating. And it's quite disturbing. Like I'm going to do an episode tomorrow about Princess Diana and the royal family. There's been theories and belief that Princess Diana was pregnant when she died. She was with a man named Dobi Al-Fayed, who is the son of Muhammad Al-Fayed, who was Princess Diana's boyfriend at the time of her death. And mind you, Princess Diana was dating her bodyguard, who died mysteriously on a motorcycle crash. And the father of Dobi, who is Diana's boyfriend, at the time claims that Diana was pregnant with Dobi's child. Muhammad Al-Fayed is an Egyptian Muslim and claims that the Windsworth found problematic arranging Diana's death, covering up the pregnancy, and that there's another reason. Expensive conspiracy theory is seen. Let's go to the next one. The royal family planned Diana's fatal car crash. Do I believe that is true? Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the royal family did not put up the flag to honor Diana's death. The royal family didn't even release a statement. It is very fucked up how in the movie The Queen, which is played by, the Queen of England is played by Helen Mirren, gives a sympathetic portrayal of the Queen, like she was distant but had a connection with Diana. But in reality, the Queen really didn't fucking like Diana to begin with. She didn't like her. Because Diana, there's photos of her, who was a beautiful woman, who was, people found fascinating. Like, she was like the British answer to JFK, in a way. She was fascinating. She interacted with people. She was dubbed the People's Princess. She was very well liked, very well loved by everyone because she was very into charity. She was a humanitarian. If you really look at the stories of her and her kids, she was very more liked than her kids. Like, her sons, Harry and William, are very distant. Like, they're very snobbish people. Or should I say very prickish people. Very prickish. So, Mohammed Al-Fayed, who is very outspoken about the theories about the crash that involved Princess Diana and his son Dobby, I don't even know how to say his name. That led to a multi-million-dollar investigation into the crash that killed Diana and Dobby. Al-Fayed, millionaire business owner of Harrods and the Ritz-Carlton locations, believed that the crash was the royal family's ploy to prevent Diana marrying Dobby. Mind you, the royal family, which is weird, by the way. It's a weird thing because she is out of the family. She divorced Charles, who had an affair with basically a human troll-looking person. Like, if you ever look at the photos of Diana and you look at the photos of Charles' wife, you're like, wait a minute, he went from that to that? What the fuck? Like, it is weird, though, because, like, of course, I shouldn't criticize the royal family. Queen Elizabeth is married to Philip, who is her second cousin. So, like, it's very weird, though, because, like, the Brits will always make fun of Southern people. It's just like, you look at them and they're like, your queen is married to her second cousin, so you have no room to talk. So, the reason that the royal family prevented Diana from marrying Dobby, who is a Egyptian Muslim, to give birth to her child, is because the royal family, who is not British but in fact German descent, did not want her to marry a Muslim man. They did not want her to do that, which is dumb because she's a grown woman. She can basically marry anyone she wants. So that's one of the reasons why. It is really weird how this family is. It's like, one thing I found out, which is pretty interesting, is... Sorry, I had to stretch real quick. The British family does not want people who are sick or near dying or, illness or whatever. They don't want them in the royal tours, because it's revealed that if you have a heart attack or something and you die there, you get a royal funeral. Like, you get a state government royal funeral. Which is like, if you go, sneeze, you're like, get out. It is rather weird how they are. Like, they get paid to serve the royal family. The royal family gets paid to serve people. Yeah, how stupid that is. It's bad enough over here. We had to pay, senators, governors, taxpayer money to serve, to serve the state. They get paid. It's like president. They get elected president. They get paid $500,000 just to be president. These people get paid for the title of being a royal family. And it's like, the Queen of England is called several things, like Your Majesty, Queen Elizabeth. I mean, if you were born with the name Elizabeth Alexander Mary Windsor, you would want to be called something else, because that is a dumb fucking name. Windsor. It sounds like a villain from a Disney film. Damn you, Windsor. It is really a stupid thing, but, you know. But the royal family. Here's something that's fascinating about royal families. This is not just in the British royal family, but it's also in like Egyptians and Spain. This is a fascinating thing that I studied before the show, and I was very kind of disturbed by it, because hearing some of these things, it made me think of the movie The Hills Have Eyes. It is revealed that the many royal families, from Egyptian royal family to Spain, royal family in Spain, to the Britain's royal family, is that they all practice inbreeding. They married their cousins, it's like King, what's his name? Pharaoh. I'm trying to remember. Like, there's like several Egyptian pharaohs that is fascinating. Which I always find really weird. I always found like the Egyptian... Oh, hold on. I'm reading a comment real quick. Let's see. Where you talk about the royal family and the missing people that happened to disappear involving children, with Queen Elizabeth and Philip being found guilty of missing children, and how they never served their times being found guilty of it. I will talk about that one. That one kind of freaked me out when I saw that in a video. A Jay Myers documentary. It kind of freaked me out because I saw it and I was just like, oh shit. Because hearing that part was always disturbing. Knowing that these people got away with something. Like, I remember what this person's talking about was also in the story of it was Elizabeth made the children kiss her feet. She made them bow down and kiss her feet. And when the kid who spoke about it was threatened by a nun, because, you know, the Catholics, you know, the kid who later became an adult talked about it and filed a lawsuit over it. And he disappeared before the court case happened. He just disappeared. He, like, poof, gone. And when you hear that, you're like, oh, What the fuck? Because it is a very... Love you more. Alright. I found it. This one's about King Tut, so I have to talk about this one. Alright, let's see. Oh, it's not him. It's some other one. I forget the other one. Oh, sorry. Someone blew up my phone. Let's see. This probably is about him. No, this isn't about him. I always get distracted when I'm reading something. And not know I realize, oh, I'm recording a podcast. King Tut's mother was known as the Younger Lady. Okay. Didn't even know that one. Yeah, I did see the episode South Park Halloween special where Butters had... Butters was the mummy and Butters. Like, yeah, that was always a funny one. That one's about... I remember the episode. It was about the... It was about Butters had the mummy, and it was revealed to be the mummy was about. It was about the love mummy. It was about, like, they ended up getting in a fight about a Fitbit, and it was just. It was really funny and hysterical. And the police told him, like, you know, it's between you and the mummy. It was a very dumb episode. This theory I found fascinating because it's about Jack the Ripper, which, for those who seen Gotham by Gaslight, Jack the Ripper. King Edward, Prince Albert Victor, the grandson of Queen Victoria, the son of King Edward, was Jack the Ripper, who anonymously an infamous serial killer who committed 5 murders in London, 1888. Jack the Ripper's victims were often impoverished women, female prostitutes, and rioters, and researchers continue to investigate his identity. Some suspect Prince Albert Victor committed the murder So, it is always fascinating. The Jack the Ripper case is always fascinating. Like, there's always been talks of, like, it could be a doctor or a rich, wealthy person. You know, something fascinating. And I don't know who Jack the Ripper is, which is always fascinating, which is always creepy, because you never know who it can be. It could be, you know, I always thought Jack the Ripper was more of a surgeon who happened to be a killer. I don't know why, but I always thought that, because the crime scene photos were pretty gruesome. Just like the Ed Gein, who inspired Silence of the Lambs, Texas Chainsaw, and Psycho. There was this book I had. I remember reading it, and they showed like the photos of the crime scene inside the house. It was very disturbing. It was very creepy. Especially in black and white. But thankfully it's not in color, because you don't want to see what he did. Which is basically, he decapitated women and gutted them like a deer and skinned them, which was fucking disturbing. Because Gein made a woman's suit. He wanted to be basically his mother, which is fucked up. So, anyway, back to the royal family. Diana feared that Prince Charles was arranging the fatal car crash accident to kill her. A letter from Diana, former butler Paul Burrell, apparently implies that Diana suspected that her husband was planning to kill her with an accident in my car with brake failure or serious head injury, so that he could marry someone else. She wrote in a letter 10 months before she died in the Paris car crash. Several news sources released the photos of the handwritten letter. Yes, she wrote, yes, it does say, my husband's planning an accident in my car. People claim, however, that Burrell likely forged the letter himself. Why would he forge it? There is no real... Like, why would he forge a letter? Is a question that I have to ask. I mean, to be honest, like, I love the theory where they say, like, Charles is a vampire. Which is bullshit. If you ever look at him, he looks like an old catcher's mitt. It's just... It is very weird. Okay, we're going to talk about this one. This one is very creepy. Upon 1970, the UK regularly shipped thousands of orphans and illegitimate children abroad to a life of ritual slave labor and often abuse in the Gila Islands to meet two victims of the policy that robbed them of their childhood. Which has always been that way. The royal family always had. Here's the article I was talking about. The Queen Elizabeth found guilty and the missing children. from NBCM News. NBCM News. Queen Elizabeth was found guilty of missing children case. Whistleblowers incarcerated. So, all right, this is back in this is September 15, 2018. So, in the second week of May 2014, the British soldier Vivian Cunningham was drugged and institutionalized against his will. Apparently, his crime on May 6 was daring to ask his superiors about Queen Elizabeth's outstanding arrest warrant. So this guy was drugged, incarcerated, about asking his superiors about Queen Elizabeth's arrest warrant. Mind you, spoiler alert, she has been arrested. She hasn't. And I don't think that they would ever have this old teabag arrested. I know it's going to be insulting to British people. They're going to be like, hey, man. But this is insane. If half the things that this woman did, that they say she did, she should be in prison. I mean, hell, her brother has mental health issues. I think he has autism or something like that. She put him in a fucking hospital and left him there. They never speak of him. They never talk about him in public. They never addressed the things about him. She basically put this man in a hospital or a nursing home or whatever and left him there. She's like, don't need him. This woman basically doesn't want anything to do with him. Now here's the thing, like, you should never, there's always a term, never leave anyone behind. You, especially your family or friends or loved ones, you don't leave them behind. You don't abandon them. You just, you take care of them and hope, that they hope for the best, is basically. I'm trying to find it. Like, he's not even in her Wikipedia page. I'm looking it up, so hold on. Yeah, he's not even in her bio about him, He's not even in family photographs. That is just... that is just disturbing, like... It is fucking crazy. Anyway, in order to arrest Queen Elizabeth was issued in 2013. 6 judges in the International Common Law of Court of Justice in Brussels. Nearly a year after litigations, Queen Elizabeth and her husband Prince Philip, who's also her second cousin, was found guilty in the disappearance of 10 native children in the Catholic-run Kamloops residence in the British Columbia. Grieving parents have not seen their children since they left for a picnic with the royal family, the royal couple, on October 10th, 1964. They don't even know what happened to their kids. They've never seen their kids. And this bitch has gotten away with it. I know there's going to be some people who are going to be like, you can't just call the Queen of England that. I'm sorry, Her Majesty the bitch took away these kids. And the story of it was like these kids were like the smartest kids in the class. The smartest kids in the class. And she took them on a picnic. And whammo. Gone, disappeared. Not heard from. This is disturbing. And this comes into like the second part where there was rumors. I'm saying rumors because I don't know if it's true, and if it is, I really don't want to know if it's true. Some people say that the royal family practices cannibalism. Do I think that's true? I don't know. But something happened to these kids. Kids just don't disappear like that. And if they did, they probably ran away from something. I love how nobody brings this up. Not even the news media. If one of the royal families are going to get married, it's all over the news. William and Kate, Meghan and Harold, which was fucking dumb. It was so dumb. It was dumb how people went crazy for it. How they woke up at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. Because over here, you can see the wedding live. They all got up. They got on their big hats, grabbing their cup of tea and their finest china. Have some biscuits, which is, I don't know what it is. I think cookies or, crackers, whatever. I don't care. And just watch the wedding. Buy the royal wedding magazine. Buy the royal wedding china plates. Collectible cups. T-shirts. It was fucking stupid. It is stupid. People get married all the time. You don't see no collectible magazine. And I'm sorry, who the hell is going to pay $9.99 for a magazine with photographs and stories of how these two dumbasses met? Who's going to buy that? I seen it all over the store. I just thought, this is so stupid. This is stupid. And there was one person who was obsessed with it. You buy comic book stuff because of comic book movies. I'm yeah, it's actually something entertaining and interesting. I don't care about two Brits getting married. Why would I care about that? It is stupid. There is more interesting stories about this family and their shady activities. Jimmy Savile. That dude is the nastiest, shadiest motherfucker that ever lived. And he's done some sick shit. May he rot in hell for what he did. He's done a lot of horrifying things. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want the YouTube video when this thing's uploaded taken down because bad things. And I don't want the episode to be flagged or taken down. But if you do your research about this guy, you will know what I mean. What he did. He's done some sick things. And the royal family covered his ass. He never got any trial or justice for the people that he hurt. And the people that he caused inflicting harm to. That royal family protected him. Like they protected Andrew. This family is not perfect and glitzy Disney-fied things as the news media paints them to be. They know what he did. They know what Andrew did. It's the same way as we know what Bill Clinton did. Shit, you look up Project Veritas. ABC News, there's this woman who talks about what they did. Their connection with Jeffrey Epstein, who did not commit suicide. I believe that man was murdered. We all knew he was going to get killed. He blackmailed people for a living. That's how he became a billionaire. He blackmailed them. That's what happened. So this family, they have secrets. They have dark secrets that is just scary. You know, it's the same way as one of the royal families. One was a Nazi sympathizer. You know how insane that is? I mean, of course they were. Of course, you know. They're connected to, they're Germans. That's what they are. They're not really British. They're Germans. I'm trying to find the one royal family member that's Nazi sympathizer. It's like the Bush family. George Prescott Bush. Sorry. Yeah, George Prescott Bush, yeah, that's the one. He made money off the Nazis. George W. Bush's grandfather, made money from the Nazis. He gave them a lot of things. They became wealthy off of it. If there's ever anything that they need to talk about World War II is who made the money off of it and who profited off of it. And a lot of people always say, like, well, you know, the Bush family, they were oil people. That's how they made money. It's like, not really. I mean, yeah, they did make money off oil, but the grandpa made money from doing stuff with the Nazis. That's why I don't like the Bush family and the royal family. It's like if you're connected to something that is, you know, like the Nazis, like Hitler, no. And it's disturbing, though, because they're making a comedy movie involving Hitler. Jojo Rabbit. I'm sorry, I do not want to watch a movie where Hitler is smiling, laughing, and joking, and everyone laughs at his jokes. I don't want to see a movie involving that. I don't care if the director is the guy who did Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder. I do not want to see that movie. I don't want to see that movie. I'm sorry, I don't want to see it. It is not funny, it's not amusing, it's not, everyone's like, oh, come on, it's a comedy. It's like, no. You don't understand what they did. I know, right? I don't want to see that. I don't want to laugh. I don't want to joke. I don't want to see any of that. Keep that away from me. If you're going to go see that movie and laugh at it, that is your thing. And it's hard to believe that British people tried to do a comedy sitcom involving Hitler and Eva Braun living next to Jewish people. It's like, who the fuck came up with that? I know there's going to be some people who are like, well, South Park creators, Matt Stone, Trey Parker, made a comedy about George Bush. Yeah, but they did it in the most insulting way. Especially with the title saying, that's my Bush. Which, it is pretty funny, because, it's South Park. But, it is just, it's, disturbing how the royal family is. But anyway, back to this article. On May 10th, the International Tribune into crimes of the church and state, asking concerned citizens to demand Cunningham's immediate release. The ITCC, I don't know what they are, but successfully prosecuted the Queen of England's kidnapping among 50,000 cases of other missing children. Holy shit. Raymond Soldier Cunningham had intentionally asked his superior officer about the Queen's arrest warrant and only committed to mental care unit in the Stafford, England. He was injected with a typical antipsychotic drug under the orders of Captain Morrell and the doctors Kahn and Saranen. The soldier was committed to 6 months in St. George Psychiatric Unit and was diagnosed and suffering from acute psychotic episode. The Queen of England has direct involvement in the kidnapping and deaths of children. It is reported that on the website the royal family members has also appeared regularly participants in the 9th circle of the satanic cult rituals at the Mohawk Indian School, Bradford, in Ontario, Canada. Holy shit. These people are fucking crazy. I cannot read any more of that. That is just disturbing. That is scary. That is just terrifying to know that what these people have done. I don't want to go back to that one. That is creepy. These people are disturbing. This family, I don't care what anybody says about them. They are the type of people that I do not want anything to do with those people, man. When they get involved in that stuff, that is just disturbing, scary, terrifying to know what these people are capable of doing. But anyway. So, anyway, I'm kind of creeped out by that. I am very creeped out by what those people did. I feel bad for the officer that asked a question, and I feel bad for the family that lost the missing children and stuff. Do I think the Queen of England has knowledge of what happened? Yeah, I honestly believe it. I believe that they had involvement. I think they know what happened. I think that, in my honest opinion, they done something. I don't know what they did to those kids. I think they did something so badly that they are covering themselves from whatever they did. And do I think that the media is going to do I think the media is ever going to talk about it? No. The news media never talks about anything. The news media is about going after somebody that will put butts in seats. So, this one's pretty interesting. I want to talk about this crazy story, this crazy video I saw, which is pretty interesting. Somebody who is a fan of Superman made a Superman mod in the Arkham Knight video game, which is pretty cool but pretty bad. When you look at it, it's just like the mod is it is pretty bad, because I have nothing against the person who made it. I take it they really want a Superman video game. So, somebody made a mod, and it is pretty awful. I have to talk about it, because there's a video of it. And Superman has no neck in this mod. It's like if you move the camera up, his neck disappears. And when he flies, his cape turns into a bat, which it's pretty funny. And it is basically what they made was a Batman skin of Superman, except he has no cowl, so yeah. So if you're new listeners, the regular show we usually talk about comic books, comic book movies, inside scoop on Warner Brothers. Today's episode I just decided to shake it up a bit and talk about crazy, disturbing royal family stuff. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to shake things up. Tomorrow's episode we will talk about, go back to the well, I guess is what it is, of doing comic books, shit stuff. this person asked me this question. Have I played the Arkham VR Batman Arkham VR? No, I don't have a PlayStation 4, so yeah, I don't have a PlayStation 4. I am an Xbox person, so the next console I might buy the PlayStation console, but it's when they announce the next Arkham video game or something, Batman video game or something. So that's what I'm going to talk. So that's something I look forward to, is like the next Batman video game. They announced at the CW is they're doing the Superman and Lois TV show, which for me is kind of like, I don't care. I really don't care. It's about the next, Batman, video game. I mean, the next Superman show. Sorry about that. Yeah. Anyway, today's episode was kind of creepy. I know somebody's asking me, like, that was just scary. I mean, once I hear something about that involves a cult that is disturbing, I immediately go like, no, no, I'm out of that one. So, anyway, it's kind of a slow episode, but that's kind of how every episode you occasionally go into like a fast mode, then all of a sudden you slow down. That's usually what happens. Like every episode I occasionally do is like I immediately have a fast track, and all of a sudden I stop, I have to look at something. There was one thing I discovered researching that I found really creepy and disturbing. Is I talked about the movie Rosemary's Baby. The building that they filmed in, they filmed interior, exterior shots of that movie. That hotel is a very creepy place. Not just from the movie, but in reality. The reason of it is that they have a board in this apartment. Sorry, it's an apartment building, not a hotel. The apartment they filmed in. They have a governing board of who can move in there. And there's been a lot of people who wanted to move in there, from rich people to celebrities to whatever. And they have to decide on a vote who will move in, who can move in, who can't move in. And one of the people that they had that lived there was John Lennon and Yoko Ono. So this is the creepy, disturbing part of this movie. In Rosemary's Baby, I've seen that movie once, and I will never see it again, because it's one of those movies that is so terrifying and scary and disturbing. It was one of those movies, as a kid, it scared the shit out of me. And besides the Stephen King's It movie, because Tim Curry scared the shit out of me. Which is probably why I don't like clowns. It doesn't help much when I was a kid. This is a true story. They had a circus in town. And I remember as a kid, I wanted out of the tent. I remember my mom, my sisters, my dad, and me went to go see the circus. And I remember I was so upset the way they treated the elephants in the circus, where they took a whip and they whipped this elephant, and I started crying because I did not like how they treated that elephant. So my dad took me out of the tent because I was crying. Because You know, I love animals, and I just hated how they whipped this elephant. So, I remember I was outside with my dad, and all of a sudden my dad saw this clown. And it was a short person as a clown, basically, a midget clown. And my dad goes, "Come on, I want to get your photo with it." I'm like, no. The reason I didn't want my photo taken with this clown was this clown was smoking a cigarette, and he was a short midget clown, so quite a Batman story. So I remember that. It was just like, I did not want my photo with the clown, and I wanted to leave, because after what they did to the elephant, I was just like, I want out of here. I don't like it. So, yeah, that was my circus story. It was one of those circus that was so... It's one of those circus that is so shady. It was like very shady, like there was patches on the roof of the tents. It looked like something out of American Horror Story Freak Show. It was so fucking creepy and disturbing, especially at night. So yeah, anyway, back to the Rosemary Baby thing. It was, in the story, the woman who is the predecessor to Rosemary is end up found dead, shot outside the building of the apartment, and this this roof tunnel thing. Years later, this is the whole connection of this movie is like a giant spider web of sorts. So, John Lennon was found, was shot to death outside the building in the same area where they found Rosemary's predecessor, who was killed because she was shot in the head and stuff. So, and the thing about it is, the movie Rosemary's Baby is directed by Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski had a wife who was pregnant, who was murdered by Charles Manson. Charles Manson used the term Helter Skelter and used the song Helter Skelter. And Helter Skelter is performed by the Beatles. The Beatles' one of the founding members was John Lennon, who was shot and killed in the same area, the same way that the woman in Rosemary's Baby died. And there's been reports that Roman Polanski is involved in a satanic cult, the same way as Rosemary's Baby is in the film. And a lot of people believe that, I remember the woman who was married to Roman Polanski. She's in the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Not the character. Margot Robbie portrays her in the film. I forget her name. She's always a name that's always thrown around that a lot of people... I think it's most of her death is like people find. Sharon Tate. Sharon Tate was the same way as Roman Polanski, involved in this cult. She wanted out, then they ended up killing her. So, but there's been a lot of reports that Roman Polanski was involved in her death, because she was going to leave him, and She wanted to get out of it, of what they were doing. So, Polanski's been a disturbing figure the same way. He is, he doesn't, he's banned from the U.S. Well, not banned, but if he ever steps foot in the U.S., he would get arrested and, thrown in prison for life for what he did. It's very disturbing how Hollywood betrays him, and Hollywood views him as a victim. He was a victim of a crime that he committed. And there's this video of the Oscars, and this kind of is this jab at the Me Too movement, because I am a jerk and I have to take a jab at them. The people that cheered for him when he won an Oscar for The Pianist, he did the film The Pianist, which happens to be a good film, but when you watch it, you're like, oh, this guy, he directed it. Nah. So, he won the Oscar. He didn't. It's kind of funny, though, when you watch the video of him winning the Oscar. Harrison Ford, God bless him, he falls in the same category as Michael Caine. He falls in the same category as Michael Caine. He's a national treasure. just for the way he is, the way he does interviews, and the way he talks about things. He announced Roman Polanski, and all of a sudden here comes Meryl Streep standing up, cheering, clapping for a guy who raped a woman. And she's part of the Me Too movement. She's like this big centerpiece of the Me Too movement. And it's like, wow, you're a hypocrite. Of course, this is Hollywood and Hollywood hypocrites and stuff. So they're all cheering for him. Harrison Ford has the best facial reaction to this whole thing. He looks disgusted with everybody in the room. He gives this look of disgust of like, you fucking people are, disgusting and gross. And I just love that reaction, because he gives the reaction that pretty much everybody who watched the film and knows what he did, watched the video and they know what Polanski did. You look disgusted. So I applaud Harrison Ford for that. And there's been a lot of accusations and stuff, such as in October 2017, which isn't that far. This woman was interviewed by Swiss police, where she said that Polanski had raped her when she was 15 in 1972, the same month where Melanie Bernard accused Roman Polanski of assaulting her in 1975 when she was 10 years old. Polanski is a disturbing individual. And mind you, they protect this guy. I mean, Brett Ratner, who of course got fired from... Brett Ratner was involved in the DC Extended Universe films. And he, of course, defended, Polanski. And he's also been accused of sexual misconduct and harassment and stuff. And it got to the point where his studio production company was called out by Gal Gadot for what he did, because she felt like he shouldn't be involved with the DC films, that his production company Rat Pack Entertainment shouldn't be involved with the DC films. So they cut ties with him. He didn't produce another film after Wonder Woman because Gal Gadot called him out on what he did. So, and Brett Ratner, of course, had Roman Polanski in his film Rush Hour 3. It's kind of odd. It's kind of funny, though, how two people who are so similar and they do such a crazy thing. So, it's kind of funny, though. So, anyway. I remember I saw Brett Ratner's first short film that he did. It's called Whatever Happened to Mason Reese, which is like the dumbest fucking film I have ever seen. It is one of the stupidest short films I have ever seen. And it is just dumb and idiotic. And it's hard to believe that Steven Spielberg funded the money for this film. You sit there and you're like, wow. And Spielberg is one of those, the same way. I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be pissed about, Steven Spielberg, there is no way that he is that perfect of a person. It's the same way as Tom Hanks, even though I think Tom Hanks is one of the great, actors. That it is just... I'm just reading something real quick. So anyway, sorry, I'm back. There's this one film that he did, which Spielberg directed, and I remember I heard weird things about this film from people, that know things. And they say that the film that he directed called Abilene, which is a short film that Spielberg directed on a 35mm camera. They say that the film has a lot of messages in it that most people who see the film look past it. Saying that there's a lot of messages and inside information that the film has. And a lot of people who... I can't really say what it is, because it's kind of disturbing. But I think if people, look up the theory, the videos and stuff about this film and Spielberg's messages, you'll find it disturbing. I mean, there's a lot of information about... Sorry. Mentos candy. Yeah, I found this new Mentos pack candy, which is blue raspberry. So anyway, I think that if people... I'm going to look it up. I might as well look it up. I mean, we're talking about it, so... Candy. Yeah, I bought Pez candy and Laffy Taffy. So I was just like, yeah. Oh, here's one thing that one person said about one person wrote, I can't remember who said it, but I saw an interview where someone said that a big Hollywood producer or whatever has a pair of shoes made of human skin, and that they like human leather skin as trophies. One person wrote, you know how disturbing it is? Check out Dawson's Creek, how a teenage boy loves Spielberg so much. It is very weird and disturbing how Hollywood is. I mean, there's been a lot of stories I really want to talk about in future episodes about about Hollywood, and I may sound sick. It is weird though, because it's cold outside and you work in a, it's cold outside and you go in a freezer room and it's like, so, yeah, I will do future episodes talking about Hollywood or Hollyweird. The royal thing's just kind of like I know there's been a lot of strange things about the royal family, and there's a lot of interesting things about them. Like, I mean, there's been, a lot of interesting things, like Benjamin Franklin, where they found in, I think, his home in Britain, human remains underneath the house. From human remains to dog remains. And a lot of people have assumptions that Benjamin Franklin was a serial killer. When you think about that, it kind of sounds interesting. I mean, would you imagine somebody writing a novel saying that Jack the Ripper was Benjamin Franklin? Would you imagine how weird that is? But of course, the timelines and stuff, it just wouldn't match. But it'd be interesting, though, if somebody made that assumption. I'm not making the assumption. I'm just stating that someone would make an assumption. But, yep. Anyway. Let's see what other questions there is. Oh, one person. What about David Carradine? I didn't even know that he was dead, which is kind of shocking because he's been dead for 10 years and I didn't even realize it. And he died the most weird and mysterious way. Which is disturbing. I'll read the case for you. On June 3rd, 2009, at the age of 72, Carradine was found dead in his hotel room in Bangkok, Thailand. He was in Bangkok to shoot his latest film, Stretch. Police officers said that Carradine was found naked and hanging by a rope in his hotel room closet. Immediate speculations considered his death a suicide. However, there was evidence that suggests that his death was an accident, a result of asphyxiation. 2 autopsies were conducted, one involving the celebrity pathologist Porntip. I forget what kind of name is Porntip something. Both concluded that his death was not due to a suicide. It was caused by widely accepted accidental asphyxiation. Immediately following his death of the 2 of Carradine's former wives, Gail Jensen and Marina Anderson, stated publicly that his sexual interests included practice self-bondage. Anderson, however, published in a tell-all book that her marriage with Carradine said in Access Hollywood, there was a dark side to David, and there was a very intense side to David. People around him know that. He previously in her divorce filing, she claimed that he was claimed that, and it was conception of abhorrent, deviant sexual behavior which was potentially deadly. Photographs of the Carradine death scene, as well photographs of his autopsy, circulated on newspapers and on the internet. His family representative, his brothers Keith and Robert, pleaded with the public and the press to let them mourn their loved one in peace. Carradine's funeral was held on June 13th, 2009, Los Angeles, in his bamboo casket, and was buried in the Forest Lawn Memorial Park. However, his death was not... I mean, I know there was a journalist who did an investigation of his death. They even said, like, the closet that he hanged himself in was not what you think it is. It's like hotel closets are very small. Nobody can fit in them. And the bar that they said that he hung himself on was, like, so thin that you could break it with your hand. And David Carradine is like 6 foot something and weighed over 200 pounds. I don't know how the hell that man could hang himself, especially in a hotel closet with a bar that you can break easily. There is no way that this man did that to himself. There was no way that he could do that to himself. I don't know for sure if he did it, because I don't know David Carradine, the person. And for those who are wondering who David Carradine is, he played Bill in the movie Kill Bill. So, if you're wondering who that is, he's a martial artist, so yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up the episode a bit early today. There's some videos that, if you're wondering, if you're interested into the royal family and their disturbing side, check out the documentary YouTube channel called Jay Myers Documentaries. They're interesting videos. I really like watching them because I like studying things. Tomorrow's episode, we will be talking about a lot of bizarre, interesting things on the show. I'll probably go back to talking about comic books. comic book films. Yep, I'm Batman. So, I like learning about weird things. The royal family thing, however, was very disturbing, and I don't really like the royal family. I wish that the British people could do away with the royal monarchy. I don't know why people would pay money to a family that doesn't do anything. I mean, them people have more than $1 billion. They say they have enough money to feed the poor people in the world. So, I think they should do away with the monarchy. They do nothing, to be honest. So, anyway, let's see what the other question is. Are you going to be watching AEW or NXT? I got to talk about this one real quick. There's been a lot of reports that Seth Rollins, the wrestler Seth Rollins, doesn't like people over the Saudi Arabia thing. So, to be honest, I'm not going to watch NXT. I'll probably watch AEW, or I don't know. To be honest, I'm waiting for South Park. I'm waiting for South Park to be on so I could watch the next episode, because Randy Marsh gets arrested over the incident of the Halloween special, over Integrity Farms Halloween, because everybody needs some integrity. Integrity Weed. So, I can't wait to see what happens to South Park. Me too. So, I'll be watching South Park. I know I probably will watch... I'm going to DVR record Mountain Monsters, because I found out Hulu Live, you could DVR record one show and watch the other. So, I will DVR and record Mountain Monsters to see what happens. I was very disappointed with it. I gotta do my rant real quick before we go. I watched the Mountain Monsters Halloween special. Sorry, gotta move the Mentos candy. I watched the Mountain Monsters Halloween special. I don't know what the hell the episode was about. I don't know who they were chasing. Even though I watched the full 1 hour special, I didn't know a damn thing that was going on in that show. Somehow they're chasing coyotes. Or mountain, monster coyotes, something. I don't know. So, somehow they chase these monster coyotes, something. I don't know. Because I'm already losing interest quickly when I was watching it. So, I sit there and I'm watching this show and I'm thinking, like, this is so boring. And all of a sudden, here comes this giant cloak figure carrying a torch. A fire torch or something. I don't know. So, Buck's the big, chubby dude. He's a big, husky dude. So, Buck is about like 300 pounds. He's a big fat dude. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I'm just saying straight up the truth. So he starts chasing this dude or dudette, I don't know, some giant dude with a giant cloak and a torch. So Buck starts chasing him. I'm thinking, like, there's no fucking way Buck can catch that dude. You're running in the woods, you're chasing after somebody, there's no way you can catch that person. So Buck falls, as typical. The ground shook, I'm pretty sure. I know somebody once said I need to do review episodes on YouTube about shows. And I'm thinking I would be kicked off. I'd be kicked off YouTube for my insensitive comments. So Buck is chasing this person. And this person runs. They're saying this person moves faster than anything. And they cut to the camera of the person running, and there's that person is not running that fast. Stop exaggerating. And they do so many cuts, which bugs the fuck out of me. They do so many cuts. And they play this music, this high music, this cuts. And they go, what the hell is that? And all of a sudden it goes to a commercial. Or they do the dun-dun-dun, Mountain Monster logo, and they go to a commercial. They do so many cuts in that fucking episode that it annoys me to the point of I had it with this show. I had it with so many cuts and so many cuts in a show that it goes to a commercial immediately. I've had it. So I sit there. And mind you, Buck is chasing this person. Why don't you shoot him? You have a gun. Is the whole gun thing a prop? Or something? Now, mind you, I don't know anything about guns. Like, if you're walking with, like, a shotgun or a rifle, there's no way you're walking with it holding the barrel of it like it's a walking stick. I don't know much about guns, but I'm damn sure you don't do that. Especially if the gun's loaded. So, they chase this person. This cloaked person somehow loses him. Because there's a door in the middle of the fucking woods. Standing up. How is there a door in the middle of the woods? Who put the door there? That is a question throughout the episode. And how does that person open the door and close it without that door falling over? Is there a visible wall holding that door up? Or what? I don't even know how the door got there. I didn't care who the person was in the woods. I just want to be like, who's the person that put the door there? How is there a door in the woods? So, the person opens the door. And they shut it. Buck is just standing there, dazed and confused about how the door's there and how the person just walked through the door. Buck opens the door, and the person... He goes around the door, and there's no one there. And he opens the door, there's the person there in the cloak standing there holding the torch, and the person starts running. That is some Houdini-type shit right there, man. Confused a hillbilly. And the person... And he goes, I can't chase that person. And the person's like not that far from him. It's like, move your fat ass and go after that person. Burn off some calories. You could catch that person. You just shoot him in the leg and you're good. And they go like, that person was floating in air, man. That person was floating in air as it was walking and going. I'm like, that person's not there. I see the person's boot. This episode was not scary. Was not terrifying. This episode was straight up dumb. Capital D dumb. And all of a sudden, they did the next episode. They continue on the show. They set up a trap. They never catch anything. Throughout the 7 seasons or 8 seasons, I forget how many seasons of this show, they never catch a damn thing. And they got mad into one season because the one dude, the rogue team captures a Bigfoot, then shoots it. Then they wanted to go after it because they actually caught something that these dumbasses couldn't catch. They probably couldn't catch a bird. So the person, the torch, sees the trap and they start walking to the trap. I'm thinking, this is so dumb. This is dumb. And the person goes in the trap. I'm thinking like, well, shit. They caught something. And the trapdoor shuts. And they get out to go after it, and the show ends. That's how it ends. I was pissed. I was just like, you made me sit through an hour of this show. And you won't even show the person you captured. You just end it. For people to see the next episode. It's dumb. I don't like this show anymore. I used to love this show. I mean, not as much as I loved the first season of Alaska Monsters, until they got rid of Little Bear, and then I was like, fuck this show. Because Little Bear was funny. He would shoot at any fucking thing. He would pull out the gun and ready to fire at somebody. Then they got the one dude taking over, and I'm sorry, the dude that they had to take over for the second or third season, I forget. The dude was not set up to be a leader. He was more to be a second in command. he was not, meant to be a leader. Sorry, I'm looking up. They did 2 seasons. My bad. They did 2 seasons. They didn't do a third one. I think the show. Yeah, they canceled the show. It hasn't aired since 2015. So anyway. Wow, it's on Blu-ray. Man, I didn't even know that. So. I'm trying to find the people that they had in the show. Like, a lot of them had, like, weird names. Alright, alright. Yeah, that's the thing about it, like, I think they took the site down off of Amazon. I mean, not Amazon. Destination America. Sorry, here it is. I don't want to watch full episodes. I love how they put it on there, like, they immediately, like, have you, like, want to watch full episodes and you really don't. Alright. So, in this whole season, they have people, in the show, in the Alaska Monsters, they have, like, the triangle. Alright. Krusty. Alright, Krusty takes over in the second season as the team leader. Krusty is no team leader. He's more of a right-hand dude. And they bring in this guy, Dudley. Dudley gets on my nerves throughout the second season. I hated the second season of Alaska Monsters. I always liked the first season. But in the show, they retired Little Bear, who I always felt like he got kicked out. He got kicked out for shooting at something. So, and they have Bulldog and, But Face is my favorite member of Alaska Monsters. Because in the first episode, which is my favorite of the season, because Face gets mad. Because people, he smelled shit in the woods. And everybody in the team's like, did you do it? And he goes, if I did it, you know it. And he goes, and he, says to the camera, and, straight, face, straight, literally, straight face about it. He goes, I was walking up the hill, all of a sudden I got a whiff of something, and I got a smell of shit. That ain't no bear shit, that is some Bigfoot shit right there. And it was like the funniest damn thing I've ever seen. And anytime he hears something in the woods, literally, Face will yell, "Who dat? Who dat?" It was the dumbest show ever. But I think once they got rid of Little Bear in the second season, it just kind of went downhill. Because, when Krusty took over, Krusty tried to be serious. He wasn't funny, amusing to be around. He was just very serious. So, anyway, that's the wrap up of the show. I feel like if I continue talking, I'll be rambling incoherently about shows. If you're gonna another comment. If you're gonna do an episode about comic books, can you talk about mountain monsters and other crazy cryptozoic shows, like Finding Bigfoot? Yeah, I might talk about that tomorrow. That'd be a pretty good idea. I think that I never seen Finding Bigfoot. I never seen that show. I think I talked about it once. I laughed how amusing the show looked. So yeah, I'll talk about weird, stupid things. I mean, not stupid things, but silly things. But yeah. Anyway, the wrap up of the show. Final thoughts are. I can't really think of anything. Final thoughts, but who dat? All right. See you tomorrow episode. Alrighty then. Good night, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.